What's up, guys? I'm going to be doing a review discussion talk on episode 6. Now, episode 6 was such a crazy chapter of Attack on Titan that I had to do one on this. Um, I can't do one on every single episode. I'm probably going to do it in large chunks just because of the time it would take each time. It's like watch one episode, spend an hour recording it, and then transferring it, and then uploading it, and then typing out the text and finding the video thumbnail. It's just not worth it when each of my videos get on average about 10 views per upload, which is so small. But this one is one I found really compelling. I'm really doing it for my viewers. From then on, I'm going to hope I can restrain myself from continuing this because it's such a hassle. But I felt that this chapter was so key in many aspects that I had to do some sort of discussion on it. So episode 6, the first thing is this is the first time we see that a giant can be taken out, a titan. So Mikasa, I know her name now, Mikasa. She is depicted in taking out one of these titans. He seems like a lower level one, pretty big, but also very obviously very stupid and very large. So she's taking this guy out, and that signifies a lot of stuff that was left a mystery up until that point. Most importantly, that the Titans could be beat because up until this point, it could have very well been assumed or implied that they had yet to take down even one Titan, and all their equipment was for naught. And I was almost convinced that when the episode before, I believe, Eren and their entire crew was pretty much wiped out easily. So that was very, very interesting. By the way, in episode 5, I just thought the ending, I think it was episode 5, the ending was just too drawn out and unrealistic. I mean, the amount of time Eren held the Titan's mouth open, the amount of leeway time where I forgot his name, but the blonde person is just sitting there, like not doing a thing. He's just sitting there, and the Titan, I keep calling him giant. The Titan isn't doing anything, and it was like that whole scene where Eren somehow managed in time to pull out that blonde-haired guy from the Titan's throat, and then pull him out, and then he opened the mouth long enough to say this long speech before it gets closed and he gets chomped up. Obviously, there's blood, so that's probably where the problem lies, because we all know he's the protagonist. He's not gonna die. Most likely, it's probably like a Jonah and the whale story, where he's still in the whale. But the fact that there's so much blood splurting out, I thought that was an unrealistic sort of misguidance, because it doesn't make sense. He could not have survived with all that blood splurting out when the Titan closed his mouth. Moreover, the whole idea with the blonde guy just sitting there and frozen and staring at the giant for notably at least 30-40 seconds, it was unrealistic. I mean, the Titan should have done something, should have probably eaten that guy who's like right in front of him. Didn't make sense. Anyhow, more importantly, we now know that these Titans are beatable. They have that now implies that they have been beaten in the past. Also, there's this whole conspiracy question of what the heck is up with the government. Why are they sending all the best troops to the back? Is it simply because of the greed of the king? Does that mean that the humans are no better than the Titans? And so far, we are going to assume that the Titans are stupid beings with no real level of intelligence. But it's interesting to see what they do with the Titans. Apparently, they just leave them there after they die, and most likely they get cleaned up later. They don't bother to experiment or dissect them or see what they're about. I mean, that can be very vital information, but I guess they have no time for that. More so than that, it seems like all you have to do is chop a good amount of flesh off their neck, and then they're good to go. And then after a small amount of time, they turn into black char. Not well, black charred bodies. So that was interesting. More interesting though was the whole thing with the Asian descent. We see a flashback, and then the thieves who kill Mikasa's parents mention that she's probably one of the last descendants of the Asian race. And then he mentions how humans also used to have races, and she was part of the Asian race before that. Obviously, this immediately tells us a lot of stuff. Also, they mentioned that it's Asians are now pretty much extinct. So it's very interesting. Could this be a playoff of the real world? Maybe they're saying, you know, in our future, like this Attack on Titan is part of our future. Or it's just some sort of alternate world where they mention stuff that's parallel to our reality, which has happened in other manga as well. I find it very interesting that the Asians have died off, even though they are like the most populous and plentiful race on the planet by far. Not race, ethnicity. But that's, I don't know what happened. It's just I think it's just a minor thing from the author, which tells us a lot. I mean, okay, so there are ethnicities. Maybe the world was like our world, but then they all ran and hid once the Titans came. But that still doesn't explain that reference to the fiery wastelands and frozen seas, or maybe it was vice versa. Frozen land and fire seas. I think that it was that was mentioned in the flashback a couple episodes ago. So maybe it's not like our world. It's very interesting. We'll see what happens. Obviously, I don't think Aaron's dead. And we'll see what happens. So now they have a chance, and I don't know what's going to happen. And then the whole thing with Mikasa's parents being massacred, that whole scene showed that the humanity in Attack on Titan is not clean and innocent and all great. We kind of already had that shown when we saw the king, who ended up being an obese, spoiled brat who only cared for himself, and treated the soldiers who trained for years to gain the skill to beat the Titans as nothing more than expendables, which is horrendous. And that begs the question, maybe the king only got to his position through either politics, influence, money, bribery, treachery, or inheritance. All bad stuff. Finally, I just thought it was really interesting because the thieves or burglars or bandits who massacred Mikasa's parents also mentioned how there's like a black market where they can sell these females for and they quote in the anime, perverts. So I'm assuming it's some sort of, excuse the language, sex market. I might actually age restrict this video because it's getting pretty mature. But yeah, it seems like this is a new leaf, because it's a new way to look at it, because it seems like not all the humans are good, and there's actually a whole faction of the human population there that's engaged in a lot of bad stuff. They're engaged in immoral trades, and they're doing immoral things in this environment. So it's not all fine and dandy, good and bad. Maybe it's because of stagnation, where they've forgotten about the Titans after 100 years, or they were always like this. It's very interesting. That shows a lot, though. It's kind of bad at the same time. It means, like, you know, there's a lot of bad stuff going on. There's bandits massacring innocent people in order to sell the females off to a slave market for sexual favors. Well, not for gold, but the females would do sexual favors. Yeah, I'm probably going to age restrict this video. But as always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. See you guys later.